Hey guys, what is up? It's VinitDesigns here with a brand new video. We are going to be learning how to use Adobe XD, and it's a new software that Adobe's working on. It's currently in beta for Mac and PC both. I'm not sure if it works on Windows 7 or Windows 8. I know it does on Windows 10. So make sure you do have Windows 10 or a Mac OS computer. And let's just get started with the basic UI interface of the software. So we'll go through all the settings and menus and all that stuff. It's pretty straightforward because it's a very simple software. It doesn't have a lot of settings to deal with, so it's pretty straightforward. So the first thing that's going to pop up when you open up Adobe XD is the screen right here, which allows you to pretty much create a new document. And Adobe XD uses artboards. Even in Illustrator you can use artboards, also in Photoshop, but you have the option to use presets for mobile screens, iPad, for websites, and also custom design or custom size that you can choose yourself. Let's go ahead and let's just select iPhone 6 and 7 just for an example. When you click that, let me just full screen this. We are brought to this document, and if you just hit Command 0 on your keyboard, it's gonna pretty much full screen the artboard. So let's go from left to right so that it's easy to follow. On the left side we have this menu icon that pretty much has your typical options for new documents: open, save. There's some new ones. There's one called Get UI Kits, and that pretty much allows you to use existing iOS and Google or even Android icons for mobile devices. So for example, if you want a play icon and you don't want to design it or find one on Google, then you can just go ahead and select one of these, and you can use them in your designs with no issues. There's also an option for export, so let's click on that and see what options we have available. For format, you don't have many. You only have PNG, SVG, and PDF, and that's actually great for what the software is used for. This software is usually used for mobile UI designs, websites and stuff, and usually you don't use JPEGs often. You don't use other files like PSD as much. PNG, SVG, and PDF are usually common. They might be adding more in the future, so keep an eye on that. So if you do want to save in JPEG or other file formats, you might be able to in the future, but for now we only have 3. You can also export for design, web, iOS, and Android. The reason why we have these options is because for different screens we have to use different size icons and assets. So for example, web, it's going to give you a 1 times and a 2 times size, because 1 times is pretty much the full design size that you created, and then 2 times is twice the size as your original. So if you need a larger size, then you'll be able to use a larger size version. In iOS you have 1 times, 2 times, and 3 times, and that gives you more flexibility when creating icons for an iOS device. So you'll have smaller icons and mobile app settings, so that you don't have to use your full resolution size for the home screen icon page. You'll have your icon for your app, and that could be maybe 2 or 3 times size. I'm not too sure which one you use, but you have the option. And there's also custom option if you want to save as 1 times, 2 times, or 3 times. Now let's get to the toolbar. We have on the left side, we have some basic tools like selection, our rectangle tool, circle tool, line tool, pen tool. Pen tool pretty much works similar to how it does in Illustrator. You just click, and to add points you can click and drag to add some Bezier curves. Pretty straightforward if you know how to use Illustrator. Below that we have the text tool. Again, straightforward. You just select it, click, and type out your text. Okay, so I typed out my text. I wrote Vinit, but it's not showing completely. That's because the text box size is too small. So you just select it and then click and drag that handle to increase the size of your text box. And there we go, my name Vinit. Below the text tool, you have the artboard tool, which again, you just select and then you can click to add the same size artboard as your first one. You can also click and drag to add a custom size, and you can click and drag pretty much anywhere in this outside pasteboard. And what's so cool about the pasteboard is that you can actually start designing in the actual pasteboard. For example, if I have a rectangle with a white fill, I could just, you know, click and drag there, start designing, play around with different styles, whatever, and then when you want to actually use it, you can click it and drag it into your actual artboard for your design. So that's pretty cool. And the last tool in the toolbar is a zoom tool, which is straightforward. You can click and drag to zoom into an area. You can just single click also. But let's zoom back out, Command or Control 0 on your keyboard, and that's pretty much the toolbar. Now on the right side we have some other settings and effects, options, whatever that you used to design with. So let's select the artboard number 1. Okay, so we don't have a background, so let's create a background. Let me just select, you know, a square or a rectangle. And when we have something in the artboard, you can play around with the settings on the right. You have your alignment tools, you have a repeat grid, and that's pretty cool. It's a new feature that is not available on other softwares. It's really handy for UI designs, and it just simplifies everything. I'm not going to go into details right now. I'll probably create another video explaining how that works. But to the right of that, we have the Pathfinder, which is used in Illustrator to cut shapes and to add to shapes. So if you know how to use Pathfinder in Illustrator, this should be pretty straightforward, and it works just the same way as it does in Illustrator. Below that we have size and resolution parameters for width and height. You also have your positioning, your X and Y, and you also have rotation, so that's pretty cool. Usually for rotation you would have to go to the rotation tool, but here you can just enter a custom value, so that's nice. Below that we have the appearance. You can control the opacity of the shape, so we have a white rectangle. If I change the opacity to, let's say, 50%, you can see through that layer. And below, this is a nice feature. I love this. If you don't want sharp edges, you can just click this and you can have rounded edges, and you can control each corner individually. So bump up this one to, like, you know, 20, and we can see that the top left corner is rounded now. You can also change the fill color, and you can hide it as well if you just use the tick boxes, and also border color and size as well. You can also add a shadow. That's pretty much like a drop shadow in Photoshop, so that's nice to have. And below that we have background blur, and this is really awesome. This is pretty much like Gaussian blur in Photoshop, and you don't have to go into any filters. It's already available in your, you know, side panel. You can add an amount to it. You can choose the brightness as well, and the opacity, how much of that effect you want. So that's pretty much it. If you have, you know, a different tool selected, you might have some other options on the right, but they're pretty straightforward. They're all you know, easy to understand. If you just hover over them, it'll tell you what the tool is, so that's nice. Now this huge difference between this software and other softwares that Adobe has is the prototyping feature. So you can design your, you know, mobile app, and then you can actually go to prototype and then prototype your app. So for example, if you want to see how a transition from one screen to another screen looks like, you can actually do that without having to do some coding manually. So you can, for example, click on the first screen, and you have this like this arrow on the side. So if you just click on that, you have the option to choose an artboard. So let's say we want to go to artboard iPhone 6/7 number 2. So that's our second screen right here. You can either do that, or if you just let me undo this, Control Z. If you just click and drag that arrow to the next screen, you can actually pretty much attach those two together, and then choose a transition that will show when you slide or click from one screen to the other. You have dissolve, slide, push. You have a bunch of different options to choose from, and also easing out and easing in, so that is a smooth smooth transition and not a, not a full stop pretty much. So let's just give dissolve and ease out a try. Also choose the duration of that effect, but let's just keep that to 0.4 for now. And let's see what happens. At the top bar on the top right corner, you have this two options right here. One is mobile preview, and pretty much what you can do is connect your mobile device. If you have the mobile version of this software installed on your phone and then connect it via USB to your computer, click on this and you can actually use your phone to test out the mobile app. The second way is to use your computer directly by hitting this triangle or this play button, and it's going to show this preview of the iPhone screen. And we linked the first screen to the second screen, so if you were to click on it, it would pretty much take us to the second one. And right now we have nothing on it, so you can't really see the change, but it's pretty much taking us from one screen. So let's do it again. On the first one we have this rounded corner and this Gaussian blur. If you click on it, it takes us to the second screen, and that's really awesome. That's a great way to prototype your apps and share it with clients and other people to see if they can provide feedback without having to code, and then find out that something's wrong. But let's go to this third icon on the right. It says share online. And if you click on that, it's going to provide an option to give this a title, so you can say mobile app screen for so and so device, whatever. And then you can allow comments, so people can actually go to this link which we will create and share with other people, and they can provide feedback directly on that link, and you can see that. So another thing amazing about this link is that when you save this document and then just go back here and hit refresh, then the link will refresh and you don't have to share that link again. Other people can just click on that same link and it will update automatically. So that's really awesome, and it's a great way to share your prototype with other people. Now let's go back to design, and that's pretty much, I'm gonna end the video right here because we already went through all the UI settings and features that this software has available to us. This was just a basic overview, but if you want a more detailed, in-depth tutorial on how to use the software, let me know and I will create another one. We just hit 800 subscribers on my channel. That's amazing. That's actually crazy because when I started this channel 2 years ago, I was not expecting to reach this, this much of a milestone. But that's incredible. 800 subscribers, pretty close to 1,000, only 200 away. So thank you so much for your support. I will be creating another free template or some sort of giveaway very soon. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and also follow my Twitter where I will be sharing my updates on my channel as well. So keep that in mind, and I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I will see you guys next time. Peace.